That was in a frame, but as I looked, I got a bit upset because it was just too heartbreaking to look at. Every time I seen that photograph, remind me of, the day the girls got taken.
The three Saleh children, 5-year-old Rahana, 4-year-old Nadia and Safia, who's nearly 2, were taken from their Cardiff home by their father last Friday.
In 1986, Cardiff woman Jackie Saleh suffered every mother's worst nightmare. Her 3 young children were kidnapped by their father, taken out of the country and held captive in a war zone.
And I thought, how can I go on? How can I live without my kids?
It's been over 30 years since Jackie first appealed for help to get her daughters back.
I have very great hope that I will get my children back.
It is a quest that has endangered her life and those who've supported her.
We had to get out, basically, before he came.
And it's been a journey filled with tragedy and heartbreak.
I don't think anybody should have to go through that, all that pain.
After decades of searching and praying, Jackie is now ready to tell the story of her struggle to find her children for the very first time.
Hi, my name is Jackie Saleh, and this is my story.
Jackie's story begins in Cardiff in the late 70s as a headstrong teenager looking for excitement.
I was 15. We went to a party one night. I don't know, I got in because I looked too young. I looked at about 12. So, yeah, we managed to get into this club, and that's when I met my partner.
Once inside the club, she found herself being wooed by a handsome stranger, Sadek, a man from the city's Yemeni community.
My ex-husband, Sadek Hussein Saleh, I think I was 15, he was about 28. So there was quite a bit of an age gap there. But he didn't seem to be that age, he seemed a lot younger. It was fun, exciting, and romantic, but then my mum and dad were horrified. They were not happy at all, especially my dad, because I was so young, and he wasn't happy that I was going out to someone a lot older than me as well. So yeah, he wasn't happy at all.
Despite the protests of Jackie's parents, who disapproved of the age difference, the two became a couple. Within a few years of meeting, they started a family. But Jackie was left alone for long periods, while Sadek travelled to the Middle East for work.
I was having Rehana, my first child, and he decided that he wanted to go abroad, so he moved to Saudi Arabia. Rehana was born, and then he came back. Then I had Nadia.
Already parents to 2 young daughters, the couple decided to get married.
The wedding was just a registry office wedding. No family, nothing. Just me and him and 2 witnesses. I didn't tell my parents. My mum wasn't happy. She was horrified. And then we travelled to London to get married in a mosque. I turned my religion round to Muslim. I had to learn the parts of the Quran, and that is so very hard. Because otherwise, if I hadn't learned that, I wouldn't be able to get married. I had the 2 children then. I had Rihanna and Nadia. And they were only little small children then, so we decided to move to Saudi because he had a job out there.
Jackie and the 2 girls went with Sadek to Saudi Arabia. Whilst in the country, Jackie fell pregnant with Safia. After many months away from Wales, she told her husband she wanted to return home.
I was worried when I was in Saudi Arabia that he was trying to keep the girls there. I wanted them to be in Britain, be able to choose what they wanted out of life, basically. When they grow up, choose whether they want to follow the Quran or they want to, choose their religion. And I said, I want to go home. And he agreed. He said, you can go back with the girls. And I thought, good, because I didn't want Safia being born in Saudi Arabia. So I came back to Cardiff, and Safia was born in the August of 1984. I think she was £7.6. Massive, loads of curly hair, beautiful baby. And he was happy, but I think he would have liked a son. But there's all girls in our family, so obviously I had another daughter, which I was really proud of. Very pretty girls, beautiful, absolutely stunning.
With the birth of Safia, Sadek gave up his job in Saudi Arabia and moved back to Ely in Cardiff, where Jackie was embracing motherhood.
We had an amazing bond, the girls. I mean, they were all for me. I mean, there was so much love there. I mean, the girls are amazing. I mean, they were such lovely children. Nadia was so cute and so sweet. And Rihanna was the same. Though he acted like he wanted the children to be with him, I don't think he was very loving towards them. You never seen him hug or kiss them. There was no warmth or anything like that. I think because they were girls. I think he viewed women as just something, to scrape on your shoe, basically. I think they were a little bit wary of him as well, so I think that's why the relationship started breaking down, because he didn't want the girls to be brought up in Britain. He wanted them to be brought up the way he wanted them to be brought up, Muslim girls. They would just be kept indoors and just, being told what to do and things like that. And I think he thought if they stayed here, obviously they'd go to school, they'd go to uni, and I don't think he wanted that for them. I think he just wanted to control those girls. Basically, our marriage just went downhill. He disappeared for days on end, drinking got out of control, he was gambling all the time, and we never had no money, so yeah, life wasn't good. I think because he was a lot older than me as well, I think things got a little bit controlling. I wasn't allowed out. I mean, he even said what I had to wear. I wasn't allowed to show certain parts of my body. Like, I wore a top. It couldn't be low neck or showing anything like skin on the top. It had to be covered up. And he was very physical as well. He'd give me a slap now and again and things like that. He actually threw a table at me and it cut my head open and it broke my arm.
Their marriage was blighted by domestic violence so severe that Jackie believed her life was in danger.
So I just phoned this place and I said I need somewhere to stay, and they arranged for someone to come to the house and take me to this refuge. But then I decided, why should I, not be able to go home? And when I got back to the house, he was waiting, and that's when it really started to get really bad again. Hot tongs on my arm, shoe, maybe slap, cigarette burns, just sometimes where you couldn't see where he'd hit me. I think he was just a monster. It was just awful. I just felt I wanted to just run away and just escape and take the girls, but I had nowhere to go. So I was just stuck there with this person that I hated more than anything in my whole life. The situation was getting worse and worse. I think he was just planning to do something really, really bad. I just could feel it. And I did go to see a solicitor and apply for a divorce, and he said no. He said it's not in our culture to divorce. He said you bring shame on his family, and the girls would be grown up without a dad, things like that. And he wanted the girls to grow up in his culture, and I think that's why we had a lot of clashes.
The abuse got worse and worse, until one day Sadek's behaviour changed. Suddenly the violence stopped. Instead, he became distant, preoccupied, like there was something else on his mind. It was May 1986. Jackie had woken feeling unwell with a heavy cold. Sadek surprised her by offering to take the children to see his father, who lived on the other side of Cardiff, for the weekend.
I just didn't think anything of it. I just thought, oh, he'll be back. He said he'd be back Sunday morning. I think he must have been planning something, because he started to be a bit nicer, started to say, oh, do you want to do this, do you want to do that? And I think, well, that's not him. You know, someone doesn't change overnight. And I thought, no, something's up. But I never thought in a million years this would happen to me.
As the weekend progressed, Jackie's worries grew.
Sunday morning come and went. Sunday night, and I started to panic. I thinking, where is he? You know, what's happening? So the police got involved then, because on the Monday morning he still hadn't turned up.
With mystery still surrounding what had happened to the children, Jackie found herself the focus of the authorities' suspicions. For Jackie, this was just the first day of a waking nightmare that would last for decades.
The police interrogated me, came to the house, lifted all the floorboards up, because when children go missing, that's what they do. Because obviously the first thing they think the mothers or fathers done something to the children. I didn't think they'd gone abroad, but I thought he'd taken them somewhere, maybe in this country, but I didn't think they'd gone abroad. And the time I knew is when the police informed me that Interpol had traced him to Heathrow Airport, and people came forward saying they'd seen him on a train going to Heathrow. And when they checked the flight, the 3 girls were on it, and he was on it as well.
The flight the children had boarded was headed to Saudi Arabia, a country with no extradition treaty with the United Kingdom.
That was the time I knew that he'd completely gone, and my world just fell apart.
The 3 Saleh children, 5-year-old Rahana, 4-year-old Nadia and Safia, who's nearly 2, were taken from their Cardiff home by their father last Friday.
The story of the children being taken from their mother soon became headline news.
This afternoon, Special Branch said Mr. Saleh and his daughters had taken the 12:30 flight from Heathrow Airport to Jeddah on Saturday. Mr. Saleh had threatened before to take his daughters away.
They have threatened in the past to take him away.
Why was that? Why did he threaten that?
Well, we hadn't getting along too well, Our marriage was a bit, with friction, in their marriage. But I didn't think he'd ever, actually do it. I am concerned for their welfare, and where he could be. They haven't got no coats or anything with him or anything, so I'm concerned for the children.
They class it as a criminal act because he took the girls, but Safia didn't have a passport. The 2 girls were on my passport, so he took my passport. So obviously he's forged a passport because he had a Yemeni passport. So today is still a mystery how he got those girls out of the country. I think he just took them for spite and to teach me a lesson, saying that I could do this. I'm their dad, and basically he said you'll never see him again.
They have contacted the embassy over there and Interpol, and they're trying to trace where he has gone with the children, and just wait and see what will happen. And I think they would be grieving for me right now.
Are you confident that you will get your children from Saudi Arabia eventually?
I have very great hope that I will get my children back.
Screaming, shouting, crying, just all emotions go through my head. To think that I might never see those girls again, I was just like, can I explain the emotions I was going through? And it just killed me basically. I made myself really ill. I thought it was my place to make sure those girls were always safe and they were always with me. And I felt I failed as a mother because they were taken by the person who's supposed to love them, is their dad, and they've been cruelly snatched away from me. And I just think that should never ever happen. A mother should never have to go through that situation where, you never see your kids again. It's every woman's nightmare. That's all I can say. Every woman's nightmare.
With the help of her family, she launched a campaign of letter writing and begged the media for help. It was a campaign that would last for more than 3 decades.
I've tried everything. I go to London all the time. I have interviews with everybody, but it's just like a brick wall would just come down every time we got a little bit further. It's just like somebody saying, "Oh, whoa, this is not happening," because I didn't have no positive idea where they were. They weren't prepared to even go out there and search for them. Basically, they just told me once the stable door's bolted, there's nothing they can do. That's what one of them told me. I think that was William Hague. I mean, we fought for so long. I mean, I never ever gave up on the hope that I would see the girls again.
Gradually, the months turned into years. Jackie eventually remarried and had another daughter, Lucy. As soon as Lucy was old enough, she was told about her 3 sisters. Today, Lucy is 32 and looks through the handful of family snaps that Jackie still has, the others taken by Sadek when he abducted the girls.
This one, I think Nadia looks the double of you.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
That was taken here, that was. I had a professional photograph done of the 2 girls. That was before they went, that was, yes. That's Rihanna. And that's Nadia. Nadia would have been 4 and Rihanna would have been 5. So really, that was the only photographs I had when the girls went.
Years passed and Jackie heard nothing. Then one day an envelope arrived that contained a photograph of her children.
It was just a photograph, just like that in the post. Just nothing, no letter, nothing. Just that's all it was, and that's, heartbreaking to think. That's all he never sent any explanation or nothing. Just a photograph in an envelope, just sent. And we didn't know where the postmark was from either. So we didn't know where he sent it from. So we never had no idea whatsoever. Rihanna looks about 9 there. She looks about 9 there. Nadia would be 8. And she looks about 4, don't she,
4,
Safia's?
5.
Yeah.
Later that year, another photo arrived.
That one was sent.
Same year,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
the same year. So he's just been turned to me, really, with the girls. I mean, sending photographs like that. It just came to...
It was a note one.
Yeah, it said a note saying, you'll never see the kids again. They'll bring them up as good Muslim girls. My heart just dropped because I knew for a fact then they weren't coming back. And there was nothing I could do about it. And the British government didn't want to know, so it was basically on my own, just to try and get some sort of justice to get the girls back to Britain. Look at it and you think how grown up they are and, missed all those years and you just can't get them back, can you?
Even with that photo, though, like all my friends know that photo. They always say, whenever I used to come to your mum's house, you always have that picture on the side there.
Yeah, my favourite here is that one of Safia when she was a baby. And I love that one as well. When the girls... I mean, that was in a frame, but as I looked, I got a bit upset. So I took it out of the frame and put it away in my little box because it was just too heartbreaking to look at. Every time I seen that photograph, remind me of, the day the girls got taken.
As each year passed, Jackie came no closer to locating her 3 daughters. The only clue she had was from an Interpol intelligence report, which suggested they'd been moved from Saudi Arabia to Yemen, where ex-husband Sadek had been born. He'd lived there in his youth, and it was a place where he still had lots of family and friends. Sadly, civil war broke out between the north and south of Yemen,
Fighting started 2 months ago
meaning Jackie's children were trapped in a war zone.
when the war began, the rebels seemed confident enough. They were
Cardiff's Yemeni community was outraged by what had happened to Jackie's girls. This included Sadek's father Hussein, who publicly condemned what his son had done. The story was picked up in the 1990s by journalist Val Bodden, who was to become a lifelong friend of Jackie's.
I've been working as a journalist for 20 years and I just had my own daughter who was 3 years old. So it just resonated with me. You can do loads of stories about this sort of thing, but it really struck me at the thought that anything could happen to my daughter. And I just really communicated well with Jackie, and I just wanted to help her as much as I could. It became more than a story as a reporter to me. One of the biggest things that struck me, that she wouldn't move anywhere because she thought, if they ever want to get in touch with me, I'm going to be here for them. And after so long a time, it was just it's just heartbreaking, really. It was a heartbreaking story. And I have done heartbreaking stories before, but this was the one that just touched my heart.
Despite Val joining forces with Jackie, keeping this story in the press, the years passed with no news of her daughters.
It's been learned today that up to 30,000 stayed in Chernobyl itself until just a few days ago.
The Berlin Wall, that ugly symbol of a divided world, was breached by
Diana, Princess of Wales, has died after a car crash in Paris. She was taken to hospital in
Jackie's decision not to move away from her family home in Ely proved to be one of the best she ever made, as in early 2001 she received a letter in Arabic through her letterbox.
It was just a normal day, just got up, I thought, post came, I seen the foreign postmark, and I thought, oh, what's this? And I was like, total crazy, having gone mad, and I'm thinking, I've got to get this translated, and who's it from, and things like that, and I'm thinking, you know, it's got to be, and when it was from Rihanna, it was just tears of joy.
The letter was from her eldest daughter Rahana, who'd recently got married. Free from the control of her father, she'd remembered where she'd lived as a little girl. To my dear mother Jacqueline, I am longing to see you. I am very well and married to a very good and kind man. Send me a photograph of yourself so I can get over the heartbreak of being so far away from you for such a long time. Please reply so my inner joy will grow and we can carry on writing to each other. I ask Allah that this letter reaches you. Your loving daughter, Rahana.
I'm just so overwhelmed that I couldn't believe that my daughter had actually remembered me and written to me in Arabic explaining that where they were living, and Nadia and Safia, you know, the girls were okay. Nadia was married, obviously, now. And I said, kept in touch for a good few months, back and forth, writing letters. Spoke to Nadia a couple of times, not so much Safia, because she was still living with her dad. And I planned to go to Yemen then. I said, well, I'm going to come out there. You know, I want to see my daughters. And when I applied for a visa, the British Embassy wasn't happy. They said, yeah, I've got to go at my own risk. They said they weren't going to responsible for me. If anything happened out there, it was on my own back. And I was strong-willed. I thought, well, I'm going. I'll take the risk for my daughters, and I'm going to Yemen.
Jackie had not travelled to Yemen alone. She went with her friend and great supporter, the journalist Val Bodden.
She was actually very quiet on the plane, on the journey, I think more because she was scared of flying than anything else. But I do remember landing in Aden because, you know, we were the only two white women on the plane, and we were questioned about why we were there, which was really strange, you know. I thought, well, we're not, you know, we're here to see our daughters, you know.
We got off the plane and there was old men with guns and everything, and I was like shaking. I was thinking, oh my God, what have we got a situation in? And as we walked through the door, they started shouting in Arabic to us, and I was thinking, what's going on? But that was the most scariest thing ever, because you see them with the big rifles on their thing and everything, and you know, they just looked at our passports and they were just shouting at us, and we didn't understand what they were saying, and so they just locked us in this room and locked the door and took our passports. I was nearly crying. It was just horrendous. And I think, you know, we've got ourselves in a really bad situation, you know. We could end up in jail. And all of a sudden, the shouting calmed down, and we see this guy come into the airport shouting at him, and it turns out he was Nadia's husband. And everything changed. Their attitude changed completely. We didn't check our suitcases, just put a cross on them and said, you go, you go. Then the girls were waiting outside the airport for me. Couldn't see their face or anything because they were completely covered over. there was a lot of crying, hugging, kissing, and I was so emotional, and I was just shaking, totally shaking, because I couldn't believe that these two young girls were my daughters. You know, the last time I seen them was like when they were 5 and 4. So you can imagine emotions go through my head. My heart was pounding and I'm literally shaking. And yeah, tears, lots and lots of tears. Lots of tears.
Once they'd made it out of the airport, Val removed her video camera and began documenting Jackie's extraordinary trip to the Yemen, where she was finally reunited with her daughters. This is the first time this footage has ever been seen.
Went back to Nadia's house. Total shock where they were living. So poor. Basically no running water, no toilet, just a hole in the floor, no cooker, just a little camping stove, and very little food.
With everyone back at the house, the girls were able to uncover their heads, allowing Jackie to see her daughters' faces for the first time in over a decade.
You could see they still looked the same as when they were children. You could see this, you know, Nadia was still the same, and I was just so emotional, you know, it was just unbelievable.
After so many years away from Wales, the girls remembered very little English, but Nadia was confident enough to send a message back to their family in Cardiff.
Hello grandmother, how are you? Fine? How are you Ellie and Jane and Samantha? Yeah. And Lucy and Father Alan. Sleep. Oh.
That's right, Hannah. And that's not the shoe, Nadia.
Jackie had also taken the handful of surviving family photos to share with her daughters to remind them of their childhood in Wales.
This one is Nadia.
Me?
Yeah.
At the kitchen.
Yeah, in the kitchen.
His father, he's photographs, but he's not see me.
No.
As the girls were shown the pictures, they told Jackie they had never seen a photograph of her before, because their father had cut her out of the family snaps in a bid to erase her entirely from their lives.
I don't know what is your his wife is okay.
The joy Jackie had felt when meeting the girls was spoiled by the circumstances she found them living in.
So you could still see the remnants of the war. You could see all the helicopter blades on the roof. You could still see the bullet holes in the walls of the houses, and just you could see all the, you know, the engines and things have been blown down. I was just angry, and very angry to think, you know, they were being brought in a country where there's been so much war, so much famine. So obviously, you know, food was an issue with them. You know, so obviously didn't have things that they could have had if they'd been at home with me. You were just wasn't allowed out and things like that, no freedom. And those girls would never be able to grow up and go to school or go to uni, because obviously they were planned to be married off anyway.
Both Nadia and Rahana were married, which had helped them escape from their father's oppressive upbringing. Safia, however, still lived with him.
He used to beat them and lock them in cupboards, no food, because they were part of me, so they were treated really badly as well. And I just feel, you know, really sorry, because those kids were taken, and you know, they just had a really bad life over there. They were taken by someone who didn't love them, just took them just for spite, and then their life was ruined. You know, they didn't have no one over there, no family, and I think they suffered so badly, the girls. I mean, their father didn't love them. And there was no love lost between them. And I think he just took it for spite. So, yeah.
Despite Jackie's emotional reunion with two of her daughters, the fate of youngest daughter Safia cast a long shadow over the moment. Still only a teen, Safia had still been officially under her father's authority, so any effort to meet her was fraught with difficulty and danger.
Because she was living with her father, we were scared to meet with her in case it got back to him. We suddenly got a call 3 days before we were due to fly back to say we could go to the school and meet her. That was amazing. We didn't know how it had come about, but I do remember that was probably about the scariest part of the week. There wasn't a second thought really about going there because it happened so suddenly. And of course she was excited to go and meet her, but she was always also scared for her because she'd heard, you know, she was worried that the father, her husband, was going to be at the gate. You know, it's a mixture of emotions: excitement, fear, trepidation.
She was obviously still at school, Safia. We planned to travel to the school so I could meet her, and they took me to school, and it was the most scariest ride of my life because they were driving so fast because we had a certain time to get there for my ex-partner, husband turned up.
That was an amazing experience. We went into the school, we were ushered in, taken into a side entrance, I think, and we were just taken into a room.
The teachers locked us in the room because they were frightened in case he'd come in.
Jackie and Val had an anxious wait, not fully knowing what to expect.
She just looked at me and I seen this young, beautiful looking girl, but she was the image of me. She was like my double, and I was thinking, my God, it's Safia.
You only had to look at her to see that Jackie was her mother. The likeness was so real.
The teacher said, "This is your mum," and she just looked at me like to say, well, I've never seen this person in my life.
Safia's father had remarried and had told his daughter that his wife was her mother.
And I sat down with her and I explained to her, I said, what happened with the dad, and your father took you when you were a very small baby, and I'm your mum, I'm from Wales, you know, and she went, I don't understand, because she didn't understand that he was married to that woman, and she always thought that was her mother. And I said, no, I'm your mum. I said, you know, I can prove it. So I showed her a birth certificate and some little pictures of obviously when she was a baby and things like that, and she started to come round then. And then she was just hugging me and kissing me, and it just got really emotional, and it's just unbelievable to think that after all these years that I actually, you know, got to meet my daughter when she was only 18 months old when she went. I just wanted to take her home, but obviously I couldn't because she didn't have a passport or nothing like that. So yeah, she just, you know, broke down in tears because she knew that I was her mum, and the emotion was just all there in her face and everything, and we just hugged each other and kissed each other, and it was, I think it was the most incredible moment of my life, to knowing that, you know, I've actually met Safia.
Jackie was overjoyed to be reunited with Safia, but how had Safia felt?
My name's Safia. This is my story. كنت أتمنى، بس كان شعور خوف إني أول مرة ألتقي فيها، أشي أتعرف عليها، أشي أسئلة كثيرة، أشي أتكلم معها. بس الوقت كان صغير جدا، يعني تقريبا أقل من نص ساعة تقريبا. أشي كانت أسئلة، بس ما الوقت قصير جدا لا أستطيع يعني أسأل وأتعرف عليها. بس كنت فرحانة جدا، كنت شي أتعرف عليها واكتشف من هي أمي. طبعا كان شعور الصراحة غريب وما أقدرش أوصفه الصراحة.
And then we got an inkling. One of the teachers came into the room, said, "You'll have to go now. We think he might be on his way." Well, we didn't know what to think, really. And so it was a very tearful farewell for Jackie and Safia.
كان بداية صراحة صعب يعني، وكنت منصدمة يعني إني أول مرة ألاقيها وتكلمني تقول لي هذه أمك. وبعدين أني فرحت، وبعدين فترة يعني وجيزة جدا يعني لقيتها، وبعدين أتغير الوضع وتسافرت أمي. كنت أتمنى أتواصل معه، أريد رقم تلفون، أي حاجة، صورة لها. صعب.
She just said, "I want to come home with you." And I said, "You can't come home with me." I said, she said, "Oh, don't leave me here." And I said, "I can't take you." And she literally was clinging to my legs and screaming, "Not take me with you, take me with you." And it was just horrendous. The tears, it was just awful. And then all of a sudden, then it all started. Everybody started panicking. Everybody running around, and I thinking, "Oh, what's going on?" And I said, "Oh, he's on his way. He's on his way." And I said, "Who's on his way?" "Oh, yeah, ex-husband."
We had to get out basically before he came, and I think just at the back of Jackie's mind was just, I don't care about him. She wouldn't be bothered about seeing him face to face, but it's what would have happened to Safia afterwards.
لأنه بيعرف في ذلك يعني سجنني في البيت، يعني خلاني تقريبا شهر كامل ما رحت مدرسة، خاف إني ألتقي بأمي مرة ثانية. قال لي هذه أمي، يعني إنسانة مش تمام، وهي تركتكم وهي سابتكم، هي ما تشتيكمش، يعني ما تفكروا فيها، فكروا في أنا اللي تعبت وأنا اللي صلحت علشانكم كل حاجة.
They took me out the back way, but as I was coming out, he was coming round the corner and he must have seen. And obviously he followed us to Nadia's house, and that's where all the trouble started. There was a lot of shouting and banging, and they said, "You hide, you hide." I said, "Why hide?" He said, "Your husband Sadek looking for you. He have gun." He said he have gun outside. He says he wants to shoot you. So they locked me in the room, and I looked out over the balcony. And I couldn't see him, but I could see all shouting, and I could see this crowd of men with all guns and stuff. And I was really scared, I think, and I was shaking. I thought, "Oh my God, you know, I'm gonna die here. He's gonna get into that building somehow." But luckily there was enough of them to sort of protect me. But that was really, really scary to think, you know, that someone could do that. You know, your mother had those children, and he wants to harm me. You know, he wants to kill me.
The threat posed by her ex-husband was never far away, and Jackie was desperate to get her daughters back to Wales. She visited the British consulate in Yemen to ask what her options were. They told her, under Yemeni law, Safia was still a minor and could not travel without the permission of her father. However, Nadia and Rahana were adults and entitled to British passports, therefore were free to travel back to Wales with her. The family faced a dilemma. Did the elder girls abandon their sister and husbands in Yemen to start a new life in Cardiff with a mother they'd only just met? Or did they let Jackie return home alone? Together they had decided that Jackie would return to Cardiff, and once the two girls had arranged passports, they would follow for a very special holiday.
I'll go to Cardiff and see you.
Jackie flew back to Wales, happy in the knowledge that her girls were coming home. A few weeks later, they flew to Wales to see Jackie.
Rayhana and Nadia were taken from this very house in Ely by their father Jackie Saleh when they were just 4 and 5 years old. Now aged 20 and 19 and married, the girls did get in touch by letter in May. Jackie immediately flew out to the Yemen to see them.
Very, very emotional, you know, crying and, you know, just to think that they actually come home after 15 years, after all this time, you know, all this, the fight I've done to get them here, and it's actually happened and they're actually here.
When you were growing up without Mum,
Yeah.
were you sad?
Yeah, it's sad all the time.
And what are you doing in Wales? What things are you doing?
Shop, yeah. I shop, going beach with my mom and my family. Going to the zoo, yeah. It's nice, very nice, lovely. And the bridge is very nice.
Nadia and Rihanna came here for, I think we were here for 3 months. But it was very hard because Nadia couldn't settle. She had so many issues back and forth the hospital, where she'd just literally go into a shell and not speak to me, and she literally closed down.
It had soon become clear that daughter Nadia was suffering from what would later be diagnosed as PTSD as a result of her traumatic past.
She said, my father, I hate my father. He used to send us out when there was when the war was going on. He used to send them out for food, to look for food and things like that. I mean, they were only small children, and he sent them out to look for food when the bombing was going on. You know, what kind of father does that? Maybe she was only like 8 or 9. And it must have been so scary for them, knowing they could, anytime something dreadful could happen, a bomb could drop down. And she said, yeah, they just send them out for food. And no thought of safety and things like that.
6 weeks into the girls' visit, the world changed overnight. The September the 11th attack on the World Trade Center saw the globe engulfed with fear and uncertainty.
A hijacked American airliner had just smashed into the North Tower of the World Trade Center.
As Muslim women in the West, the girls' husbands had become fearful for them and asked that they return home. Reluctantly, they did so. Even though Rihanna and Nadia returned to Yemen, Jackie was now very much in touch with her daughters, including Safia, who regularly wrote and phoned home. Back in Yemen, Nadia and Rihanna both started their own families. Between them, they gave Jackie 6 grandchildren. As both girls' families grew, it became clear that Yemen would remain their home for the foreseeable future. Jackie had been expecting news of another grandchild, as Nadia had gone into hospital to give birth to her 4th child.
اتصلوا في المستشفى قالوا لي إن أختي تولد في المستشفى، فأنا جيت لقيتها تنزف، يعني سووا لها عملية تقريبا غلط العملية. جيت لقيتها تنزف وعلى أكسجين وتخطيط القلب، يعني وضع الصراحة صعب جدا. قالوا ما نقدر نسوي لها حاجة، يعني هي تعبانة من أول وإنه صعب كانت تحمل، فهي حملت غلطة يعني. فهذا أدى للنزيف، وبعدين تركوها تنزف تقريبا فترة طويلة، وانتقلت بعدين نقلوها مستشفى ثانية، فهذا من نقل مستشفى لمستشفى أثر عليها من هنا. وحتى الخياطة حقها ما خيطوها من الناس، يعني ما فيش عناية خالص. العملية كانت كلها غلط والعناية ما فيش عناية، فقص فترة طويلة تنزف وسابوها. قالوا ماش أي حاجة، ماش بدي نحن أي حاجة.
They didn't have no blood for her, so they put her in a little side room and just let her go to sleep and never wake up. Didn't have no blood for her, so they just let her die. And I don't think anybody should have to go through that, all that pain, just because someone, doesn't want you to takes your children just for spite and just think, this is a life they should have had. But she should still be alive now. She shouldn't have been left to die. She went so young, she was only 28, and left 4 beautiful children behind. Now they haven't got a mother. And so what kind of life will they have out there without their mum? She's always on my mind, always. I always think of her every day. Just think, she was the most beautiful child in the world. and I didn't even get to say goodbye to her. It's horrible. Never said goodbye.
The same year as Nadia's tragic death, Jackie's ex-husband, the girl's father, Jackie Saleh, was killed in a car crash. With Sadek dead, the family were able to put one dark chapter behind them. And with Sadek no longer there to control her, Safia was free to pursue a life of her own. She fell in love and married her husband Labib. The couple started a family that would grow to include 4 children. But this joyous time was interrupted when war erupted once again. As Jackie watched the conflict unfold on television, her worries grew when all phone calls stopped. Eventually, she received a letter from Safia. Their home had been bombed and they were lucky to escape with their lives. Safia sent home a video that showed her mother the terrible conditions they were now living in.
كان في المنطقة اللي كنت عايشة فيها كان لا كهرباء ولا مي. أول بدأت الحرب انقطع الماء والكهرباء. وكان عادوا بداية الحرب. فأنا انتقلت منطقة ثانية عشان المي والكهرباء. وتخرجي تجيبي الأكل وتوفري الحاجات يعني صعب صراحة. كنت خوفي على الأطفال. صراحة يعني تعبت كثير إني.
For many years, the family and their 4 small children lived a perilous existence. They moved between bombed-out homes, and for Safia's husband Labib, providing for his family had been a constant struggle.
صعبة جدا أثناء الحرب لأن ارتفعت الأسعار وأصبحت لقمة العيش صعبة جدا ونكافح ونعمل يعني نشتغل لكي نحقق لهم لقمة العيش والحمد لله الله وفقنا احنا يعني جاهدين إنها وصلنا لهم كل اللي يشتوه من طعام من مأكل بس الخوف كان من المشاكل اللي حصلت يعني مؤخرا في مشاكل الحرب من القتل والمشاكل يعني الحرب.
It was heartbreaking for Jackie to see her 2 granddaughters, who'd been named after her and Lucy, suffering in that way.
I am Jacqueline. Hadi Asala. I am Lucy.
They were living in such bad conditions. I mean, poverty was so bad. The house they were living in, they couldn't even go outside because they weren't safe for the children because they were getting kidnapped. And they just to see horrible things like seeing the bodies on the floor of, children and things like that. And I think no child should ever see that kind of, devastation, whatever. And obviously, it affects children that way.
After living in the shadow of war for many years and still without a safe place to call home, Jackie was determined for Safia and her family to leave Yemen and come to Cardiff. But they needed help to do so. Once again, Jackie turned to the media for support.
A woman whose 3 daughters were abducted more than 30 years ago says she's desperate to bring her youngest home to Wales. Jackie Saleh's husband took their children to Yemen in 1986. As war rages on, pushing millions to the brink of starvation, Jackie wants to bring Safia back to Cardiff.
32 years ago, Jackie Saleh's life changed.
To get Safia and her family home meant raising money to buy flights, British passports for her and the children, and a 12-month visitor visa for Labib. With their story in the news once more, the family started a crowdfunding page to raise the funds. It was an overnight success, and the scene was set for the family to come to Wales. February 2019, and after decades of hoping, the moment has finally arrived for Jackie. Safia and her family are flying home to Wales. Inside Jackie's house in Ely, preparations are underway with daughter Lucy to welcome them. But fitting them all in may be a challenge.
I know it'd be a bit crowded because they'll all be squeezed in one room. Because my house is not that big. I got things that they probably wouldn't. I don't know whether they had a telly over there, but things like that, you know. So they were able to have a comfortable bed to sleep in, sofa to sit on. So yeah, it'd be really nice, you know. The kids have their own beds.
With Safia's flight due to land in Heathrow in just under 5 hours, Jackie sets off to meet her. She's joined by family and supporters who work tirelessly alongside her to see the family reunited.
Yeah, I went to bed last night. I got up about 2 o'clock. Made a cup of tea, went back to bed. Mr. fell asleep, woke up at 4 o'clock.
Did you?
Yeah, and I was thinking, oh, I'm not going to get back to sleep. And it's just going to be like, oh, I don't know, just, it's going to be...
Surreal.
Yeah, it's surreal. You just think, is she really is? Am I dreaming? You know, and after all these years of just fighting to get the girls back, and I'm thinking, it's not, you know, it's actually happening. And she always knew that one day, you know, that this would happen. And, well, I've never, ever given up. All day I couldn't relax, I couldn't sit still, just knowing that she could arrive any time. So, yeah, it was really emotional, and I just wanted to see Safia after all these years. I'm a bag of nerves now. I am. I'm really psyched up now, and I just can't wait just to get off, you know, to meet her off that plane. It's just like the last sort of... My stomach's going like butterflies, and I'm thinking, oh God, it's not long now. Will she be landing? I think there'll be a lot of emotion, you know. So I think a lot of crying. I think it's not going to be easy, and I'm just going to be just having goosebumps and all that. It's just can't wait now. It's just I just want to get it done and overdone with. I can't wait to get off that plane. I mean, a mother's love is nothing you could ever, ever, ever lose. You know, no matter what, where they are or what they do, you'll always be there and always be, you know, their mother. I've got all goosey, really goosey, yeah, really goosebumps, yeah. I'm there now. I'm one step away now from meeting my daughter after 35 years. So yeah, that's going to be my jumpy stomach.
The last time Jackie saw Safia at the school in Yemen, she was only a teenager. With the family clear through immigration, Jackie and Safia can finally be reunited.
You see this young girl coming through to the airport and you think, you know, that's my daughter, and you get so emotional, and seeing the grandchildren as well. And now she's not a child no more, she's a fully grown woman.
البداية كانت صراحة مش مصدقة. لما شفتهم صراحة يعني اندهلت. يعني أوصف شعور غريب صراحة، يعني ما توقعت إني يعني بوصل للمرحلة وبشوفهم فرحانة جدا يعني. أني تعبت، جلست فترة أتعب يعني أدور والحمد لله توفقت إني أشوفتهم.
Oh, I miss you so much. I can't believe this happened.
As well as Safia, there are 4 grandchildren to meet for the first time, including granddaughter Asala, who is the same age as Safia when she was abducted all those years ago.
Saleh is so much like Safia, and every time I see her, I got so much love for her because she reminds me of exactly the same as Safia when she was growing up. And I think I could, you know, I think I have another chance now to get back what I lost with Asala and the other children as well.
Oh, she's so beautiful. Oh, she's gorgeous. Oh, she must go back to Daddy now.
The emotion of love come over me, and I just wanted to hug and kiss her and just say, you know, I just wish this never happened. You know, we wish we'd never been apart, and you know, I wish I could make things right. you know, and take away all what you've been through, you know, and give you back your childhood.
Four hours after touching down at Heathrow, the family is back at Jackie's house in Ely.
Oh, it's so cold. I just put the heating on, okay? It's freezing.
I am happy, Mom.
It's my house.
Yes.
It's okay?
Yeah.
Dream come true. So hopefully we'll just all squash in tonight and we'll all have a good sleep. It's going to take a while for them to settle in to obviously the way of life here, but it shouldn't be a problem, you know. Get used to, you know, everything here, going out, because obviously, you know, it's going to be difficult for the children as well, because obviously, you know, here is a different way of life, but hopefully the girls, they've already adapted anyway, they haven't stopped whatever, innit, playing, singing. They all have chickens on the boat. But I'm hoping they'll settle down, have a nice life, and just live normal, like normal people do, you know, safely, and not have to worry about money or you know, food or anything like that. Yeah, so that's all I want for her, to be safe, and the kids to be safe.
A future that once seemed like only a dream is now a reality for the family.
They can do things which they never could do in Yemen. Simple things like the park, which they love, and just be able to go outside and freedom and not have to worry about war and no food. So yeah, the future's looking fantastic now. It's a dream come true.
حنونة نفس الوقت لطيفة يعني ما أقدر أوصف لك يعني غير اللي وصفوا لي خالص يعني حنونة وطيبة وهادئة نفس الوقت وتحب ترضيك وتعطيك كل حاجة ما تحب تزعلك تبحث عنه واكتشفه واكتشف طريقته واكتشف من هي أمي.
I say to anybody, whoever lost a child, or, you know, that child comes home, you never lose that bond or the love, because it's always there in your heart. Always. Hi, I'm Jackie. This is my daughter, Safia.
Hi, I am Safia. Is mom Jackie.